If your wedding planning suddenly feels like a group project and everyone assigned themselves as the manager, this video is for you because family opinions can get loud fast. The guest list, the venue, the ceremony, the traditions, the money, the people who are supposed to be invited, even though you haven't seen them since flip phones were normal. So, today, I want to talk about how to handle family opinions while planning your wedding without losing your mind, hurting everyone's feelings, or accidentally planning a wedding that doesn't feel like you. Stephen Barnett, and I'm a Pennsylvania wedding photographer. I photograph weddings throughout central Pennsylvania, including places like Harrisburg, Hershey, Lancaster, York, Adams, Gettysburg, Lycoming, and the general surrounding areas. Today, I want to talk about one of the sneakiest stress points in wedding planning, which is family opinions. Because when you first get engaged, you expect to make decisions about venues and photos and flowers and food and music and timelines, and it goes on and on and on. You know, all the normal wedding stuff. What you may not expect is how many people suddenly have thoughts about your wedding. Big thoughts, loud thoughts, very confident thoughts. And if this is your first wedding, it can feel really confusing because you love your family. You don't want to hurt anyone. You don't want to seem selfish. You don't want to start drama. But also, you're the one getting married. And somewhere in the middle of trying to be kind, it's very easy to hand your wedding over to somebody else. So let's make this practical. The first thing I want you to know is this. A lot of family opinions are not really about the wedding. Sometimes they're about emotion. A parent could be struggling with the idea that their child is getting married. A family member may feel left out. Someone might be thinking about tradition. Someone may be thinking about appearances. Someone could be thinking, well, this is how weddings are supposed to be. And, you know, sometimes, yes, someone could just be difficult. We do not need to pretend every opinion arrived from a wise little wedding owl. Some opinions are just chaos wearing perfume. But when you understand that opinions come from emotion, it can help you respond with patience without giving everyone control. That's the balance. Kind, but clear. Patient, but not passive. Open to conversation, but not available for a full wedding takeover. The second thing is this. You and your fiance need to get on the same page first before you start answering everyone else. Talk to each other. What kind of wedding do you actually want? What matters most to you? What are you willing to compromise on? What are you not willing to compromise on? How much influence do parents get if they're helping pay for the wedding? How are you going to handle guest list pressure? What traditions matter to you? What traditions do you not care about? If you don't talk about those things privately first, then every outside opinion becomes harder to handle because now you're trying to figure out your own answer while someone else is pressuring you for theirs. And that's how couples end up stressed, resentful, and crying in a Target parking lot. Ask me how I know. I love Target, but we're not doing that. All right. So before the big family conversations get too big, have the private couple conversation. You two need to be a team, not one person trying to keep their family happy, while the other person silently builds resentment. Wedding planning is one of the first big planning tasks that you're going to have together. Treat it that way. The third thing is to separate advice from decisions. This is huge. People can give advice. It does not mean they get the final decision. Your mom can have all the thoughts about flowers. Your aunt can have thoughts about the guest list. Your grandma can have thoughts about tradition. And your friends can have thoughts about the reception. That's fine. People love talking. Let them talk. But advice is not ownership. A suggestion is not a command. An opinion is not a contract. You can listen kindly and still choose differently. Try saying, "Thank you for thinking about that. We're going to talk it through and decide what fits best for us." That's polite. That's warm. And it does not hand over the steering wheel to your wedding. The fourth thing is to get very honest about money. This is where things can get spicy, especially if family is contributing financially. You need clarity early. Is this a gift? Does it come with expectations? Are they expecting to invite people? Are they expecting to choose vendors? Are they expecting to approve decisions? You need to know that before you accept the money, not after. Because money without clarity can become emotional debt, and emotional debt has terrible interest rates. If parents are helping pay, it may be reasonable for them to have input in certain areas, especially if they're covering specific costs, but that needs to be discussed clearly. For example, if they're helping with catering and they want a few guests invited, that might be a conversation. If they're paying for nothing and trying to rewrite the whole wedding, that's a very different conversation. This is why budget and boundaries need to be connected. Not in a cold way, but in an honest way. You can say, "We're grateful for your help, and we want to make sure we're clear about expectations before we move forward." That sentence can save you a lot of stress. The fifth thing is to protect your guest list. Guest lists are where wedding planning goes from cute to feral, because the guest lists affect everything. Budget, venue size, catering, bar, tables, chairs, invitations, the timeline, the whole feel of the day. But yet, family members sometimes treat the guest list like it's a family reunion sign-up sheet. No, girlie, that's not what we're doing. Your wedding guest list should reflect the wedding you're actually trying to have. If you want that intimate wedding, it's okay that not everyone makes the list. If you want to know everyone at your wedding, that's a valid priority. If your budget only allows a certain number of guests, that's a real boundary. You do not need to apologize for math. Math can be really rude, but it's honest. When family asks to add people, you can say, "We're trying to keep the guest list within our venue size and budget, so we're being really intentional about who's invited." Simple, kind, clear. No 12-paragraph defense needed, Your Honor. The sixth thing is to stop explaining too much. This is hard, especially if you're a people pleaser. You think if you explain it perfectly, everyone will understand, agree, and lovingly support your decision. That would be adorable. But sometimes the more you explain, the more people think the decision is still up for debate. So keep it simple. We've decided to keep the ceremony adults only. We've decided not to do that tradition. We've decided to keep the guest list smaller. We've decided to do a first look. We've decided to choose this venue. You can be warm without over-explaining. A boundary does not need a PowerPoint presentation. The seventh thing is to give people a lane. Sometimes family pressure gets worse because people feel left out. That does not mean they get to run the wedding, but it can help them if they had something specific to do. Like maybe your mom needs to help with dress shopping. Maybe your dad can help with transportation. Maybe a parent helps with the rehearsal dinner details. Maybe a family member helps gather addresses. Someone can help with the family photo list. Give people a lane if you want them involved, but keep the lane clear. Don't be generic, like help with the wedding. That's too broad. That's how someone ends up sending you centerpiece ideas at 11:48 p.m. It's like they're on a mission from Floral Underworld. Instead, say, Would you help us gather addresses for this side of the family? Specific task. Clear lane. Much better. The 8th thing is to remember that your vendors can help protect the day. A good vendor team is not just there to do a job, they can help create calm. Your planner or your coordinator can handle timeline questions. Your venue can guide guest flow. Your DJ can make announcements. Your photographer, can help keep family photos organized. Your hair and makeup team can help keep the morning moving smoothly. Your vendors should not replace your boundaries, but they can support the wedding experience. For example, if you're worried about family photos becoming a mess, tell your photographer early. Give them the list. In fact, they might already have the list. Tell them about sensitive family dynamics. Tell them if certain people should not be placed next to each other. I don't need the full family documentary, but I do need enough context to avoid making the day harder. So the more your vendors know, the more they can help. The 9th thing is to remember that your wedding is allowed to feel like you. It does not mean you ignore everyone. It doesn't mean you become rude. It does not mean that you dismiss the people who love you, but it does mean that you can stop letting everyone else's expectations become the blueprint. You can honor family without copying every tradition. You can accept help without giving up control. You can love people and still say no. You can be grateful and still have boundaries. That's part of being an adult planning a wedding. And no, it's not always easy, but it is worth it. Because if you let everyone else build the day, you may wake up on your wedding morning and realize you planned a wedding that made everyone comfortable except for you. And I really don't want that for you. I want you to feel presence. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to recognize the day you planned and put your blood, sweat, and tears into. I want you to look around and think, yes, this feels like us. So if family opinions are making wedding planning stressful, here's a simple version. Talk to your fiance first. Decide what matters most. Be clear about money and expectations. Protect your guest list. Listen kindly, but don't treat every opinion like a final decision. Give people specific ways to help if you want them involved, and choose vendors who can help make the day feel calmer. You don't need to fight everyone, and you don't need to please everyone. You just need a clear plan, a united front, and a wedding day that still feels like it belongs to you. So, if you're planning a wedding in Pennsylvania, and you want a photographer who helps you feel comfortable, prepared, and taken care of through the photo side of the day, I'd love to talk with you. Call me, beat me, text me if you want to reach me. Head to my website, send me an inquiry. Tell me what you're planning. I'd love to hear your story and help you think through the wedding day. And perhaps I'm the right photographer for you. Have a great one.